Hello everyone, welcome to Everything Arsenal. Let's catch up with the latest transfer news as per usual, another live show as per usual. And today we're going to be talking about Reiss Nelson. You have an update on him. We're expecting a lot of sales now between now and Monday because there's still a lot of players who we need to sell. The latest on Hincapie, the player that is supposed to replace Kiwior, and of course the latest on Kiwior. Now, the question I have for you guys, whether you're watching on repeat, whether you're here live right now, whether you're watching on a different platform, I've put a poll on YouTube and the question is, do you think 15 million is enough for Reiss Nelson? So the poll contains these answers. Number one, you think it's a fair price that is good enough, take it and run. Number two, you think we should have actually have gotten less. You're actually very happy that you're getting more. You expected less than that, less than 15 million. The third option is you wanted more than 15 million, so between 15 and 20. Or the fourth option is you think he's worth more than 20 million and we should not be selling him for 15 million. So you can vote if you're watching on YouTube. If you're watching on replay, you can just comment down below. And if you're watching on a different platform, let us know how much you think Reiss Nelson is worth. So this is the news today from Charlie. The breaking news is that Crystal Palace are in talks to sign Arsenal's Reiss Nelson for 15 million after the deal with Fulham seems to have gone cold. So it was looking likely that Fulham would get him back. They didn't really want to sign him. They wanted to get him back on loan. Fulham have gone quiet, though. They haven't really signed any on this transfer window so far. And it doesn't look like they had enough money to buy Reiss Nelson. And in terms of the loan, it went quiet. And from reports, a month, 2 months ago, they say that Reiss Nelson was actually happy to be at Fulham. He wanted to go back to Fulham. He was happy to be there. But it doesn't look like Fulham are going to come back for him. And obviously, he's not going to get an opportunity at Arsenal. At the moment, in terms of wingers, there's now Martinelli still here. Trossard is still here. Now we have Eze who can play there. We have Saka who can play on the right side, Madueke, Dauman, when they literally have like 7 players who can play in the winger positions. Reiss Nelson is not going to play in this Arsenal team, unfortunately, so we do have to sell him. And also considering you spent a lot of money this transfer and you're still looking like you're going to spend more, we have to make sales, and Reiss Nelson is one of those players who we can sell. So Crystal Palace want to give us 15 million. Obviously, we've just done business with Crystal Palace recently. We've just gotten Eze, so there's I guess there's good vibes there between Arsenal and Crystal Palace, so they are willing to give us 15 million. So you can vote on the poll in the chat and let us know if you think he's worth that 15 million or do you think he's worth more or less. For me personally, I think I'm happy with that, to be honest. If you check his transfer market value, it's around 16 million. So yeah, Reiss Nelson is right now is not worth like 40 million. If you put into account, the number of games he's played over the last 2-3 years, how old is he right now? Let me just confirm Reiss Nelson's age. I mean, he's never really played for England, so he's not really an international player like the way Smith Rowe was or Saka. So he's turning 26 later this year. So yeah, Reiss Nelson is not a youngster anymore. Like, he's not like the 19, 20-year-old we are used to. Like, he's getting to 26 very soon. So it's like the Rashford kind of age. That's the time that they came up. So you have to sell him. For me, you have to sell him. Actually, I'm so surprised that he stayed at Arsenal for this long. I remember when Maitland-Niles was being linked to Wolves. That was like 2021, 2022 there. I wanted Reiss Nelson to leave at that point, but he stayed for another like 3 years now. I remember that moment against Bournemouth. He got a new contract after that. But yeah, putting him on like 100,000 per week, that was a big mistake in itself. Players like Reiss Nelson and Kepa should never have been on 100k per week. So those are the kind of the mistakes that we need to stop making in terms of the wages. But he's going to leave, and it looks like they're going to give us 15 million. So let me know if you're watching on a different platform, if you think it's worth that 15 million, or did you actually expect less, or did you want more than that? Now, that has been confirmed as well. Hand of Arsenal says that Arsenal have been in talks with Crystal Palace for the transfer of Reiss Nelson. Talks ongoing for around 10 days between the two clubs, and Drea looking to secure a fee that will count as pure profit, as Reiss Nelson is from Hellland. That's the other point. We never really bought Reiss Nelson at all. So, he emerged from Hellland. And the truth is that basically in the last 3 years, he's not really been making any impact. He went to Fulham. He was injured almost the whole time. There's a point where he went to Germany on loan. He did okay, but at Arsenal, I usually try to look at it like this. How many games do you remember that a player has really impressed you? If I ask you right now, how many games do you remember from the top of your head where, Saka really made you happy? You can mention like 10 games. If I ask you right now, even if I ask you in Ketia, how many games was he really, really good? You can probably mention them. I can tell you, wow, he scored a hat-trick against Sheffield United. He scored those 2 goals against Chelsea. That was great. He scored that last-minute win against Man United. So even Ketia, you can mention like up to 10 moments that you really remember him in an Arsenal shirt. But if I ask you about Reiss Nelson, unfortunately, if I ask you, tell me, 3-4 games that you remember Reiss Nelson played really well for Arsenal, or 3-4 moments that you remember, literally the only thing I remember that made me so happy was I think he came on against Nottingham Forest. He scored and he assisted, I think, twice in that game. And then I remember the Bournemouth win, of course, the last minute winner. That was one of the best moments ever. But you cannot really mention 3, 4, 5 moments that you remember from Reiss Nelson, but you can mention for all the other players, Martinelli, Ketia, Saka, all those other guys. You can mention 4 or 5 moments that you remember. So in terms of impact at Arsenal, there hasn't been any impact. He's a Highland boy, obviously. He's Arsenal through and through. But I think at Arsenal, he's not really going to succeed at Arsenal. And the levels we've gone to right now, what we are trying to achieve, I don't think Reiss Nelson can be part of that. So hopefully, he can go to a different team and play well. Hopefully, he can go and start games and play games and work out for him, because we've seen Arsenal players recently as well. Players like Rob Holding left Arsenal, he just disappeared. He never played for Crystal Palace. He went to the Championship and now he went to the USA. So hopefully Reiss Nelson can go and shine in another team in the Premier League, like Iwobi is doing, like Smith Rowe is doing over at Fulham. Hopefully Reiss Nelson, it can be the same with him, because I don't want him to go and even Hincapié, since he left Arsenal, we've never really heard about Hincapié. So hopefully it's a little bit different from Reiss Nelson. But at Arsenal, I don't think he's going to succeed. Unfortunately, I don't think is what we need right now. And for his career as well, I think it's just better for him to leave. Hand of Arsenal also says, I'm told Reiss Camp are actively wanting the move while also exploring other options. Crystal Palace are conservative as of today, but are well informed on his availability and ballpark price. Fulham stalled on committing to a loan with an obligation was the last I had. So that's the update for Hand of Arsenal. It tells us that Fulham stalled and Crystal Palace are looking at Reiss Nelson. That has been confirmed by Ben Jacobs as well. Crystal Palace are in talks to sign Arsenal's Reiss Nelson for a fee in the region of 15 million. Fulham prioritizing Milan's Chukwueze and Shakhtar's Kevin as it stands. So Fulham are going for different players. Chukwueze is a good player if they can get him. So the only team right now that is trying to get Reiss Nelson is Crystal Palace. So let's see how it goes. Let's get that 50 million. So for me, I would take that 15 million, because you have to look at it like this. Are we ever going to get more than that for Reiss Nelson, or is his value going to drop even further? So unless he was to go on loan somewhere and really shine, and then you can sell him for 30 million, which I doubt. Reiss Nelson contract expiry. Does he have like 1 year or something? 2027. So he still has 2 years remaining on his contract. So it would have been okay to loan him out and then maybe sell him next year. But right now, we do need that money right now. We've bought a lot of money for a lot of money, as Madueke, Gyokeres, you signed all of these players for a lot of money. So you have to make some sales to try and balance the book. And Reiss Nelson is one of those players that you can sell. So all the best to him. Let's see if that deal goes through as soon as possible. We now have 5 days remaining plus the rest of today, so not too much, less than a week. So that's the latest on Reiss Nelson. Next up, Kiwior. What is happening with Kiwior? Fabrizio told us last night that FC Porto are waiting for Arsenal to decide in the next 24 to 48 hours on Jakub Kiwior proposal worth 26 million euros. The one for Reiss Nelson is in pounds, so don't confuse it. It's 15 million pounds. This one, Fabrizio gives us in euros. Kiwior was never going to travel tonight, as it depends on Arsenal. He was in training yesterday. I think even today, maybe. Green light might also depend on talks with the buyer for Piero Hincapie. So I guess right now we are still trying to, discuss all the terms with Bayer Leverkusen for Hincapie, trying to see if we can get the deal done. Before deciding whether to let Kiwior go, although we are going to let Kiwior go and then sign this guy, we want to make sure that we are actually going to get him. But for now, FC Porto are actually just waiting. I think Kiwior is going to be an FC Porto by the end of an FC Porto player by the end of the week. But they have to wait until Arsenal can confirm that Hincapié is going to join us, and then we can move on Kiwior. A little bit sad still. I really wanted Kiwior to stay, but yeah, if we can use that money and try to balance our books, and if we can get another defender as well who's quality too, that's fine. I think Kiwior has been a good servant at Arsenal. If I was to rate him out of 10, I'd give him a good 7 out of 10 during his time at Arsenal. I always say it. When he came to Arsenal, I think they came at the same time with Trossard and Jorginho. I think 2023 January. So he came to Arsenal, and that season I think there's someone who got injured. Saliba got injured. Yeah, Saliba and Tomiyasu got injured against Sporting in the Europa League, and then Kiwior played next to Gabriel, and that was after Holding had played, and Holding hadn't played well, so he had to move Kiwior to the right side of Gabriel, and I think Kiwior did well. 2023-2024, when he finished 2 points behind Man City, Tomiyasu was still injured and Zinchenko was injured. We had to play Kiwior as a left back, and that was not his position. He did struggle a few times here and there, especially when he came up against Leroy Sané and those guys when he played Bayern Munich in the quarterfinal. He really struggled in that game. I remember against Fulham as well, he was subbed off at halftime because he was really struggling in that game. But overall, he still had a good time. He was not really a left back, but he was still getting a few assists here and there. He was getting goals against Newcastle in the Premier League during our run, finishing 2 points behind Man City. He was a crucial player. And on top of that, last season, the third position, he covered for Saliba, he covered for Tomiyasu and Zinchenko. And last season, after Gabriel got injured, he covered for Gabriel as well. And he did very well in terms of the Champions League quarterfinal and semi-final against Real Madrid, against PSG. I mean, we can't really say we went out of the Champions League because Kiwior was playing. Nah, that is not, we cannot really say that. So he did his job. He would have been a very good backup player to have. I would still have liked him to be in the squad. But I actually think we should be getting like 35, 40 million for him. I actually do feel like this is quite low, 26 million euros. But that's the thing. If you're selling players to Portugal and Germany and France, those teams are not going to give you more than 26 million euros. But if it was us buying Kiwior from FC Porto today, would have been paying 60 million. But yeah, it's English tax, I guess. They have to pay more money, bigger league and all that. And, the other teams don't get as much money as the Premier League team. So all the best to Kiwior as well. Looks like he's going to go to FC Porto. FC Porto still qualify for the Champions League today, and they have a Champions League qualifier. So if they do qualify, we might come up against him this season later on. But all the best to him. I think he's been a great servant. 7 out of 10 for him, especially when he came to us. So remember, not many of us really knew anything about him. We're like, Kiwior, okay, let's see how it's going to happen. But in terms of the recent defenders that we had, in terms of backups, I think Kiwior has been way better than players like Pablo Mari, players like Cedric, for sure. Kiwior has been qualities, passing and all that, and the goals that he's chipped in with. Fantastic. So all the best to Jakub Kiwior. Let's see what happens. According to Hand of Arsenal, he added to what Fabrizio said. Porto officially sent an offer of 26 million loan plus obligation package containing a fixed fee plus loan fee. According to Luca Bendoni, Arsenal responded with a counter offer today also, which has been the main point of negotiations today. Specifics are being discussed, which include possibilities such as sell-on fee and UCL bonuses related add-ons. Fantastic. We need to do that to teams as well. Every team does that to us. They always, like the way Sporting did to us with the Gyokeres and add-ons, and you need to add this, you need to add this. We need to do the same with our players as well. Put a sell-on fee. This is why Chelsea is so good. Chelsea sold the player called Renato Veiga, a player who's never even really played for Chelsea. He was on loan last season. They sold him to Villarreal. Is it for like 30, 35 million or something? And they put a 40% sell-on clause, which means if Villarreal sell that Veiga guy for 100 million, 40 million of that will go to Chelsea. That is incredible selling. I really wish you could sell like Chelsea. So it's great. We need to put sell-on clauses on all of this. And Chelsea as well, they did that with Omari Hutchinson as well. They bought Hutchinson from us. They put a sell-on fee on him. They sold him, and they got money from Ipswich the other day as well. So we need to do that as well. So if FC Porto come to sell Kiwior in the next 3-4 years for 50 million, we get a little bit of that money as well. Arsenal are hoping the final fee is around 30 million euros. Either way, the deal is in its final stage. So by the way, I'm hearing that Arsenal want at least, they're trying to get 20 million for Reiss Nelson, although it looks like we're going to get 15 million, but they're trying to push for 20. Same with Kiwior. They want to give us 25 million, 26 million, but Arsenal are trying to push for 30 million euros. So that's not bad. Let's see if Andrea Bata can work his magic there. Remember what I said yesterday? I'm not expecting Andrea Bata to sell Reiss Nelson for 30 million and Kiwior for 60 million. Remember, these players were not bought by Bata. He did not put them on those contracts. He did not put them on those wages. So the players that Bata has now bought in the next 2-3 years, we're going to wait and see, how is he going to sell these players that he's bought? Because, he's not the one who put Reiss Nelson on 100k per week. So it's more difficult to sell a players on 100k per week plus. Andrea Bata's ideal plan is to only sanction this deal once, or if secure a deal for Hincapié. If you secure a deal for Hincapié, I'll need to say that. I'll need to learn how to say that name well from the top of my head in case he signs for Arsenal. Hincapie is how you say it. Negotiations are ongoing with personal terms agreed on the player side. The reason for this strategy is for Andrea to ensure Mikel Arteta is fully equipped for his 25-26 campaign and not left short. A lot of moving parts and negotiations. Patience is the master of the situation. Yeah, for sure. If you sell Kiwior and Zinchenko, you have to buy someone. You do not want to remain short. We have someone say the other day, if you sell Kiwior, let's just use that money for a forward player. I would love a forward player as well, but if you sell Kiwior, you have to buy a defender. You cannot leave it like that. You have to buy a defender. White is injured. Timber can get injured anytime. Calafiori can get injured anytime. So in terms of defensively, you're not in a really good spot. Mosquera, yes, great signing, but we don't know how much he's going to adapt to the Premier League, how quickly he's going to adapt. So you do need some cover there for both. Gabriel, who's also returning from a 4-month injury, you do need cover. So listen, I did not even expect Arsenal to sign anyone at all. I actually thought we were done even before Eze. So everything else that is happening right now for me is a bonus. I did not expect anyone at all, even after Eze. That was now. I thought that was done completely. So anyone that we get right now, whether it's Hincapie, whether it's a loan deal for a left wing or whatever, that is just a bonus. For me, it's already a 9.5 out of 10 transfer window. And it's going to be a 10, depending on how we're going to sell Nelson and Kiwior and Fabio Vieira. If we manage to get like 60 million for those 3-4 players, and then it's going to be a 10 out of 10 transfer window, whether we sign a left wing or not. So I think it's been such a great transfer window. We've never had anything like this. So that's the latest on Kiwior. But what about Hincapie? So this is the latest update we have yesterday from Fabrizio. There's not been any update today. Piero Hincapie has said yes to Arsenal and personal terms have been agreed. So we already know that he wants to join Arsenal. So we're not going to sign Hincapie until we finalize the Kiwior deal, basically. So we are waiting to finalize the Kiwior deal. We are trying to have the same sort of deal that FC Porto is going to do with Kiwior with us, with Hincapie as well. So Arsenal prepare opening bid, likely loan plus obligation to buy, depending on whether Bayer Leverkusen will accept that as well. So with Hincapie, I think it depends on Kiwior. So if Kiwior goes, then very, very quickly you'll see Hincapie joining Arsenal. We were linked to that Martinez guy from Girona as well. We don't have any updates today, but you wait and see what is going to happen. I mean, we might still end up getting another defender again, which is crazy. I think we need one more. We've not heard anything about Zinchenko recently. It is looking like Zinchenko is going to stay unless someone comes in for him last minute, because I've not had anyone who wants Zinchenko. Fabio Vieira, I think, is eventually going to leave. Karl-Heinz has left. Lokonga, I think, is eventually going to leave, even if we send him out on loan and he leaves on a free. I think that is what is going to happen with Lokonga. Is there anyone else I'm forgetting? I think it's only Zinchenko. I think we've not heard anything about Zinchenko, any team wanting him. But hopefully by Monday, we can finalize everything and then maybe might sign in someone else on deadline day. So that's the latest today. Those are the latest updates. Arsenal are now focusing on the sales. Obviously, we need to sell players. We've used a lot of money this transfer window. And if you sign in Hincapié, it's going to be even more. So let's see. So the poll that is going on in the chat, if you're watching on Facebook, you can comment and tell me how much do you think Reiss Nelson is worth? Do you think the 15 million is enough, or would you have wanted more, or did you actually expect less and you're very happy with the 15 million, or do you think it should be more than 15, more than 20? Let me know. I am doing good. RK, thank you for watching as always. Let's see 20 million minimum, says Dr. Fred. He wants 20 million minimum for Reiss Nelson. That's what Arsenal are trying to get, but I think we also need to be kind of careful, because if we don't sell him to Crystal Palace, who else is going to come back for him? Because he gets paid a lot of money. I don't think they want that as part of the wage bill. For me, to be honest, I would take that 50 million, because I don't think he's had that much of an impact. Now, for the other players we usually talk about, it's different. For players like Martinelli and those guys, it's different. Those are international players. They play for their countries. Reiss Nelson doesn't really play for his country. The other players you're talking about are 2021. Reiss Nelson is turning 26, so age-wise, he's not a youngster anymore. Performances the last 3-4 years, Reiss Nelson has never really been, at the top of his game the last 3-4 years, whether it's just performances or injuries. He's had a few injuries here and there to Arsenal at Fulham as well. Personally, I would take it, to be honest. Lamine says 15 million, small, very small. For Kiwior, he would love to get more than 30 million for sure. Because Kiwior has had an impact the last 3 years. Reiss Nelson hasn't really had an impact the last 3 years. Thank you for watching, Erico. Following from Monrovia, thank you, Cooper, as always. Let's see, 25 million is okay for Reiss Nelson. I don't know if anyone would pay us 25 million for Reiss Nelson. So 25 million is what we are getting. I mean, yes, as I said, England tax. We might even sell Reiss Nelson to Crystal Palace for 25 million and still sell Kiwior to Portugal for 25 million. But Kiwior and Reiss Nelson are not worth at the same money. If you just look at the two players and how much they're worth, I don't think you can say Reiss Nelson is worth the same money as Kiwior right now. Yeah, I guess 25 million would be pushing. I mean, I know, as I always say, Chelsea able to get even 25 million for this kind of players who never play. But let's hope they can push for 20 million. That's what I can say. Good afternoon, Baligan. Let's see. Yeah, we've talked about Hincapié, Mosquera. How are you, Erwin? I've come a bit late, but that Bournemouth winner reminds me of him. Anyway, 15 million, sanctioned the move quickly because right now it's homegrown, so that's pure profit. It is. That's the other thing. So we are gaining 15 million. We're not really making a loss like we're going to make a loss at Lokonga or those other players that we've bought. This one is pure profit. Thank you for always watching, Junior. Appreciate it. Thank you as well, Gilbert. So by the way, there's a Carabao Cup draw today. I wanted to do a live show for that, but it's going to be like deep in the night. Like I think it's after the Man United game or something. Yeah, I think like after midnight or something. So yeah. But the thing to know about the Carabao Cup draw today, we can't face the top teams. We can't face any team that is in Europe. So we are not going to get Liverpool or Man City or Chelsea or Nottingham Forest. No. We are going to get the teams that are lower than that. So that is today. Tomorrow, we are going to do a live show for the Champions League draw. So at a time like this, so we might not do this particular transfer show. You're just going to do the Champions League show tomorrow. Unless there's news, then we're going to talk about it. Liverpool are going to get Gay. Interesting. So Liverpool are going to get Gay. That's what we're hearing. So Champions League draw tomorrow, Carabao Cup draw today. Let me just tell you the teams we might face. I would sell Nelson 15 million and Kiwior 6 million, says Com 285. Good afternoon, Glenn. What about Rodrygo and Semenyo, says Gilton. Semenyo is not going to leave Bournemouth. Rodrygo, we wait and see if there's going to be a loan or something. But yeah, I'm not really confident with Rodrygo. For me, anything that happens now is a bonus. I didn't even expect us to add anyone else, but let's see if any loan deal is possible. I mean, I'm not going to doubt Bata. I mean, even the Eze one came from nowhere, so maybe they can pull off the Rodrygo one from nowhere as well. Let's wait and see. Which club is coming for Fabio Vieira? Stuttgart wanted him, but that went quiet as well. Any deal for Malik Fofana? Again, we wait and see. I've not heard anything about Fofana the last couple of days too. 50 million is small. Thank you for always watching, Lamine. Mohammed says, greetings from Sierra Leone, West Africa. Glenn, I think the 15 million is a fair bargain, given the fact that the focus is freeing up the wage bill. That is true, because he's on 100K per week as well. That matters too. You can give that money to someone else. 18.5 says Ailara. 50 million says Charles. 20 million says Golden. Let's see. I don't know you. The group. Do you mean like the live show? We stream on both YouTube now and Facebook. So yeah, I usually schedule it earlier, but you guys will get a notification but like 20 minutes before. So I don't know why it does that. It used to give you guys notifications way before that. But it's always this kind of time. So you can always just check this kind of time. Martin says, thanks for the daily updates. I appreciate you. Really appreciate you, Jeff Pounds, as well. So the teams we can face today in the Carabao Cup, Lincoln City, Doncaster, Wigan, Bradford, Burnley, Port Vale, Wrexham, Barnsley, Sheffield Wednesday, Reading, Brighton or Oxford, Brentford, Millwall, Wolves, Swansea, Wycombe, Cardiff City, Cambridge, Southampton. So basically championship teams, Division 1 teams, Division 2 teams. Huddersfield Town, Everton or Mansfield, Grimsby or Man United. Look at where Man United is. These guys are embarrassing. Have you just heard the teams I've mentioned? Man United is part of that. Embarrassing for that club, really embarrassing. Fulham and Bristol as well. I mean, come on. I just know with Aston we're probably going to end up with Brighton away or something stupid like that, or Everton away, when all these other teams, you're not going to get them. But yeah, give me something that we can throw in a few youngsters in the first game. Give me Lincoln at home. I usually like facing teams we've never faced before. So we've played Lincoln before for sure. Give me Wycombe at home. Give me Wycombe at home. Sheffield Wednesday is bottom of the table in the championship, so give me any of that. Reiss Nelson, at least we should sell him 25 million euros. Let's see. I feel like that is a bit of a push considering he hasn't really done anything the last 3 years, Alisson. So that's the problem. He's not on form. Like, that's why his transfer market value is only 16 million. A lot of you asking about Kosi. I talked about it the other day. Kosi is okay. I told you guys it's okay. I talked to him the other day. He's working on some other things. Dalton says, hi Glenn, watching live from Kenya. We should get more for Kiwior. I wish we could get more for Kiwior. So let's just see. So Carabao Cup draw tonight. I'll give you guys an update on that. If there's any more transfer news, we're going to talk about it. But we are definitely going to have more news. There's going to be news on Nelson, on Kiwior, on Lokonga, on who am I forgetting? On Vieira, on Hincapié, and maybe one more player if you're going to sign anyone else as well. So I appreciate you guys watching. I'll catch up with you on the next one.